Hey everybody, it's Michael Carey with the One Good Reason, coming at you from my home. It's Friday night, a little bit after 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, it's just going to be me flying solo on this particular talk. Xavier's actually at a company holiday party, so he's probably getting his drink on as we speak. He's been in there for about maybe 4 hours now, so he's probably wrapping it up. But yeah, tonight's talk, and again, actually, apologies for last week. I was a little intoxicated myself, so I didn't want to be on camera. Getting my own drink on was quite awesome. But no, this talk I wanted to actually touch on just kind of a general topic. I wanted to talk about the holiday season, right? So when I say the holiday season, yes, I'm in America. That's going to mean, Christmas for a lot of people. It's going to mean other things for other people, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, the list goes on. But what do I want to talk about in particular? I kind of want to touch on. I'm not going to give you the whole drab argument over the war on Christmas, right, versus saying Happy Holidays. But I wanted to share a little example of something that I've experienced personally last week or two, actually. So I'm going to. There's a grocery store in my area called Publix. If you're maybe toward the south, you probably know what a Publix is. I don't know if they've expanded beyond the south, but basically, if you don't know what a Publix is, it's a grocery store. On the echelon of grocery stores, the tier that they're on, if there was a Kmart, Walmart, Target tier, Publix would kind of be like the Target. It's a little more expensive. It's not quite Whole Foods, right? But it's I mean, you get a lot of service basically. It's clean. If you're getting name brand, top of the line products, I mean, it's pretty nice. But you got to pay to play, right? The point of the story is I'm going to Publix, walking with my daughter, I got my wife. We're going through the front door, and I see one of the I think it's a Salvation Army. Somebody fact check me on this. I feel bad. I can't remember. I think it's the Salvation Army who rings the bell. I'm going to feel silly if that's not correct. But I think it's the Salvation Army who rings the bell and asks for donations so they can do good things with the money, like help children who are in need or house families, things of this nature. It's a charity thing. It's great. I think it's great. But I see one of these guys ringing the bell, and there's this woman who's in front of me, and there's a younger I'll say boy. I don't think he's quite 18, maybe he's 16, 17, but he's big enough. I'm not that tall. He's about my height, right? And he looks like he has any number of conditions that I maybe can't nail down because I'm not, a clinical psychologist, right? But he looks like he might have a big might, right? He might have one of these, either ALS, maybe some form of Down syndrome, or Asperger's, or any of these issues of high functioning, maybe in one area, but maybe not quite on the reading level or thinking level of somebody else in general at that age. I guess that's the best way to put it. He was walking very strange. Didn't look like anything was physically wrong with him, but just that he kind of seemed like he was a little confused about what was going on, and the whole process of crossing the street seemed very complicated for him. Which is why, he was helped and guided by the woman I can assume to be his mother. Now, they're in front of me, walking. They get up to the guy ringing the bell, and I don't know what was said, but at some point it comes up. The guy says, "Do you want to ring the bell?" And I thought that was really cute and cool and everything. And the mom was like, "Sure, yeah, let him ring the bell." So he gives the bell to the boy, and the boy holds it up, and he starts ringing it, and it just made his day. And he was just lit up with joy, and it just he was just having a good time with that. And I thought that was cool that someone was paying him attention, versus giving him bad looks, or making faces or jokes, or laughing at him just outright. And I'm like, man, this is great. I wish I had some change on me or some cash so I could, put it in this bucket. Because this guy is actually out here enlightening people and inspiring people and bringing light and joy and goodness to people versus just, ringing the bell to get some money. I get closer and, they're still ringing the bell. So we're walking past them. We're going into the store. And the guy says, God bless you to this kid. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, man, Mike's going to go off about the whole God bless you thing. Well, I'm just kind of like, well, the guy is inflicted with this obviously incapacitating ailment. Much of his life is diminished compared to the things that maybe you or I would take for granted to be able to do. I mean, I don't know, not to get TMI with it, but I imagine restroom time is difficult, and bathing, and I don't know what's going on with driving, but the list goes on. I hate to highlight these things, but these are probably obvious hindrances in his life. So I thought that was very ironic that he would say, God bless you. And, I'm thinking, well, if he blessed him anymore, he'd be home stricken. So that was, kind of, I don't know if you call it strike 1.5, right? But so we shop, we get our groceries. We're coming back out, and I kind of forgot about the whole thing, to be honest. It took me a little bit, but I forgot about it. I'm coming out, and I see the guy ringing the bell again. And, he waves to my daughter with the bell. My daughter loved it. She's waving back, and I thought she was going to ask to hold the bell too. I'm like, okay, here we go. She's going to ask to grab the bell. She didn't. She just kind of waved, and we're walking by, and the guy looks at my daughter and looks at me, and he goes, God bless you. So, I can't speak for my daughter, but I said, oh, I'm actually an atheist, but, I'm glad that you're out here doing this. This is great. And he goes, what? Like, I'm like, oh, you're an atheist. And he says, oh, well, God bless you. Like, it was like I'm going to double down. So he acknowledged that I was an atheist, and then through the extra, he made sure to have his God bless me. So I just thought that was a little strange. And it was kind of like, this guy's obviously out of tune with, if the kid has these limitations, he's probably, within his scope of what he can understand, he's just happy to exist and be alive. And he's easily pleased by the bell and things of that nature. And he finds happiness in little things like that. And I think that's what you would have to do with, that type of functionality. But then when he comes across somebody who's fully cognizant of their mental faculties and expresses that they don't subscribe to their religion, they made sure to double down. Now, yes, okay, is that really so surprising of someone who's religious? No, it's not. But then that made me start thinking, okay, I'm in the holiday season, and I'm going to come across all types of things similar to this, right? And sure enough, I go to work, was it Monday? I think it was Tuesday, because the shopping thing was over the weekend. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I'm a claims examiner, by the way. And, people make medical claims. My leg is broken, I have a stomach ache, I get migraines, whatever it is. And I give them, basically 2 weeks to prove their claim. So they go to a doctor, they fill out some forms, and we verify that the forms are legit. We call the doctor's offices and make sure that, what they're saying is true. And if it is, then they get all types of benefits, and, it's great. That's what my job is. I determine if you're lying or if you're telling the truth. One guy, I just got done. I called him to tell him he was approved. He was really happy, because he was kind of sick and he needed some time off. He's worried he's gonna lose his job. He got approved. So don't worry about it. You don't have to come back until the 26th of December. And he goes, "Oh, you mean the day after Christmas?" And I said, "Well, yeah, the 26th of December is when you would come back to work." He goes, "Okay, I really appreciate it." I said, "Yeah, no problem." I said, "Happy holidays." And his whole personality, all that happiness and all that good news just went out the window. He flipped on me and said, well, where I come from, we say Merry Christmas. And even the president, he's talking about Trump, President Trump, even he says Merry Christmas, and I'm with him. And I was obviously, it was very awkward. I could have just said, okay, have a good day, and get off the phone instead of dragging this call out an extra 30 seconds. But, I did this to myself. So I was just kind of like, oh, okay, great. Have a good day. And I tried to get out of it, weasel my way out of it, and he was, he was lingering and wanted to talk about Christmas some more. So he was like, I know why you say that because, these weirdos and stuff nowadays, and I guess he's talking about leftists or, maybe some political party or that he's not affiliated with, and he's like, yeah, you have to say that to be PC because you're a company, and but yeah, if you ever call me and it's around Christmas time, you can just say Merry Christmas, and you can go ahead and put that in your notes. So I was like, okay, I'm by the time I get off this call, it's gonna be next Christmas, so I get off of that call and I just kind of looked at the phone like, wow. And then, of course, you think of all the good comebacks, right, after the conversation. I think of all the great comebacks. I'm like, well, I could have lied, right, and said, well, actually, I'm from where you're from. I think he was in Arizona. I could have said, oh, I'm actually from where you're from, and where I come from, we say Happy Kwanzaa. And Kwanzaa's pretty anti-Christmas, it's, created in the 60s. It looks as I don't subscribe to it at all. This is just fuckery, but in my opinion, but it's basically saying that Christmas is a white people's sport, right? And they look at it like we are not a part of that. We being, I guess, black people, and we're gonna have our own holiday, and Jesus Christ was a psychopath in the book, and it's pretty anti-Christianity, to be honest. It was kind of a backlash, a lashing out, in a time where, there wasn't a BET or a Black History Month or things. So what do you know? They're going to create their own holiday. And it goes from December 26th, I believe, all the way to sometime in January. But I thought that, I'm thinking about that. I'm like, I could have said that, and I don't know what he would have said. But I wanted to talk about not only the different things that people do during the holiday season, but the actual good that we'll get from it, right? So yeah, even though the guy kind of annoyed me with the God bless you and the ignorance to God, saying God bless you to the obviously handicapped boy. He actually was doing some good. He was raising money for a good cause, and that cause would be to limit the uncomfortable lifestyle that many maybe impoverished and disheveled children and families have. And I'm like, okay, well, atheists or Christians or Jews or Hindus, we all have our different religions and traditions and favorite things to do during this holiday season, this winter solstice. How much assistance to the homeless, or how much goodwill are we spreading to those who are in need? Me personally, this year, I'm going to be donating all of my child's toys, that she maybe played with once or twice, to either a Goodwill or, a Salvation Army or something along those lines. I'm going to have to pack up the whole SUV and drive it out to make sure that they're going to, families in need. I'm curious about what a lot of you actually decide to do, if anything, other than go to the Christmas party or the Hanukkah parties, or anything of that nature, or just trading gifts among yourselves. I noticed a lot of people not only donate. If you've seen like online, people will donate their birthdays to charity. I've seen people donate their holidays, right, to charity. I think that's cool. I think that's pretty good. Or what they do is they don't tell anybody, and all of the gifts that they get for their Christmas or whatever the holiday is. Excuse me. They take it and they donate it. And it's one of those things, because like if you tell somebody, oh, I'm donating my birthday to charity, it's kind of fucked up. But people will say, oh, well, then I'm going to give you, $20, or I'm going to give you something that's, a little bit cheaper than what I was going to spend because it's going to go to charity. Versus if you were the one that they knew liked the Xbox or PlayStation 17 or whatever it is, they'll go out and get that for you, more often than not. And I know that sounds really shitty just to think that of people. That's the trend that I've noticed. Obviously trends can change, but that's the trend that I've noticed, that if they know it's for you and they love you, they're going to get you something amazing. And if they know that you're just going to turn around and give it to charity, they'll kind of diminish or kind of hold back on how much they're going to give, because at the end of the day, it's still going to charity. So they're still good people. And is there nothing really wrong with that, but I wanted to say that I really want to make a strong effort this year to go out of my way and make somebody's holiday season special. And yeah, it could be August, right? It could be some other month that's not considered part of the holiday season, right? Not the winter solstice, but don't have to necessarily wait till the end of the year to start giving a fuck about people. This is the time of the year that, a lot of these things are going on. All these different religions can all agree on one thing, that the winter solstice is special. It's coming to the end of the year, out with the old and in with the new, and so on. You were a drug addict in 2017. In 2018, you're approaching it as a drug-free, sober person, right? All of these holidays are convening on toward the end of the year, and this is when people feel the most charitable. It's also when people feel the most vulnerable or lonely, or maybe they don't have family to share any of this time with, and they're constantly reminded. So it's, if you can, I might be asking a lot, and because I'm getting viewership and people are noticing some of these conversations I'm having. I figured that, it would be in my best interest and in the best interest of other people to use whatever tiny little platform I have to ask somebody to just go out and find a legitimate cause to get behind. And, if you can afford a couple of dollars, take the time to go do it. It takes less time than to go to a McDonald's drive-through. Not shouting at McDonald's, but I'm just saying, to go to a fast food place and order a combo, than to stop by and drop off $8 or something like this at any place you could Google. It's 2017. You can Google a charity place to donate old clothes or whatever it is. But yeah, the holiday season for me, starting my own family now, right? I have a 2-year-old, is really just going to be about other people. I really don't have like a wish list or anything that I want. I'm pretty content with what I have. I mean, as long as my bills are paid and I have some money left over, I feel quote unquote rich, right? If my if my bills are paid and I have groceries and gas and I have some money left over to, I don't know, spend on things to entertain me, I'm pretty happy with that. And if I can share some of that with other people, that's actually pretty cool. I won't lie though, I do like to give as much as I can to like my friends and family. So I'm not satisfied unless I've done something out of my way, completely over the top for my loved ones. And maybe that's the way they feel as well. Like, oh, you didn't have to get me the hoverboard, right? You didn't really have to do that, but I'm going to get you a hoverboard because I love you so much. And then we both end up with hoverboards that we donate to charity. But yeah, feel free to to comment on any of the traditions or any of the goodwill deeds that you're doing out there in the world. Whether I don't know, you go to a school and sing for some kids, or you visit an old people's home and play an instrument. I know Xavier is very, very talented on the piano. We might even get him to play something on our December 22nd talk, which is going to be the Friday before Christmas for a lot of you, and the Friday before Kwanzaa, right? But yeah, we might get him to play. We might dedicate a talk to any specific charity, and we'll maybe donate a percentage of money based on how many views that talk gets. So I'll have to get something together to spread out to the rest of you. But yeah, I definitely want to share this, and I'm open to have any response to any suggestions that you might have for someone who is maybe not religious but wants to get into a way to donate to their community or get active in any type of Meals on Wheels programs or building a home for the homeless, feeding the homeless, anything like that in their city. If you want to shoot us an email, the email is the one good reason. And I'll actually put it here in the chat. It's the one good reason at gmail.com. So I'll type it in here. The one good reason at gmail.com. And you can feel free to shoot us any emails with any suggestions that you have, or if you want to talk about any ridiculousness that you've come across during the holiday season. I've actually come across tons of people. I use the word tons specifically. Lots of people standing in the middle of the road, waving their different beliefs about their holiday season, and their particular religion. To the point where the light's green and I have to honk the horn like an asshole to just drive around them. But I'm also gonna where is it? I'm also gonna put here hashtag the one charitable reason. And I want to discuss why it's important to be charitable and why charity is important. Some people would say that during the holiday season, you're going to be flooded with a lot of panhandlers and people that are lazy, that they had all year to get a job, and it's hard to tell the fakes from people who are legitimately in need. And I agree. Anybody on the side of the road, it can be difficult to discern if they're an actor or if they're actually in need. Me personally, I'm a huge skeptic, obviously, if you can't tell by now. But I did come across this lady outside of a Walmart, and she was there often. There's a stop sign that you kind of have to take before you get up to a light, and it makes it very difficult to not notice that she's sitting there. And not the fact that she's a woman that I would feel any different, or that that it was a man or an old lady, or it's anybody can be a con artist, but she's there all the time. And the last couple times she was wearing the same clothes, and it looked like the clothes were just getting dirtier and dirtier. Yes, these all could be tricks that she's doing. But this one particular time I had seen her, I had just went to the liquor store right next to the Walmart, right? So I'm just getting some booze. And I'm driving past her, and she looked cold, and she looked tired, and she was talking to herself, and she wasn't even waving at me. She was just by the fence at this point. And I felt bad. I did. And I posted this on my Facebook a while back when I first came back onto Facebook. But yeah, I ended up getting a cheeseburger, okay, and a Coke, and I gave it to her. And she hugged me, and she smelled bad. She was shaking, and she started crying. She said, "God bless you." And I said, how did this happen to you? How did you find yourself, homeless and hungry? And she said she made a series of bad choices, and she did this to herself. She didn't blame, a devil or anything like that. She just straight up said that she made bad choices, and she knows that they're bad choices now, and it's kind of difficult to correct anything because she's put herself on such a, in such a rut. So because I want to have a conversation with her, my response was, so what you've learned from that, you've learned something of value and something of worth from going through all of that, right? And her response was, I've learned that we all rely on the help, if I'm quoting her correctly, we all rely on the goodwill or the hope, the assistance of other people from time to time. So if it wasn't for me giving her that burger, I don't know if somebody else would have. Somebody else could have. But it starts with you. It really does. It really does start with you. Otherwise, you'll drive past that person and you'll go home and you'll buy the items that are going to make you happy or make someone that you actually know their name happy. And that's fine. But I think we can do better. And, it wasn't like I bought her 100 cheeseburgers. It's not like I'm going to buy every homeless person on the planet a cheeseburger. I have my own family to take care of first, obviously. I'm not talking about putting yourself in a difficult position to, make yourself feel like you're moral. But we have to remember that other people are suffering and don't have expendable income to, purchase plastic Christmas trees, for example, and lights and decorations and things of that nature. There are real human beings that are cold and suffering and hungry. And a lot of them aren't going to make excuses, and they actually do know that they made bad choices. They're still human beings. And I think a lot of you have at one point in your life donated or done something for charity. But the holiday season to me is like the biggest spotlight on my character. There's no way to avoid it. Throughout the year I can say, oh, I'm going to donate in the gas station. I'll put some change in the change bucket for kids or whatever. But yeah, anywhere I go during the holiday season, it's going to be someone ringing a bell. So some people petitioning on the side of the road with signs. There's going to be streamers and lights and on houses, and there's no way to avoid being reminded of the charitable goodwill season. So if you can spare some time this weekend, look up some place to donate $1 to, get it out of the way, contribute. A humanitarian effort on your part would go a long way for somebody else, even if nobody else donates, and even if it was just ultimately a short-term solution. I think it is intrinsically good. But that's what I wanted to share with you, just some different perspectives on the holiday season. And I look forward to hearing some of your responses or some of your suggestions on what people can do in general. This has been another live episode of Tiger Talk with Michael Carey. We're normally on 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I wanted to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa. Anything else that I forgot or just am ignorant about. Catch us on the next talk. Take care.